Hello everyone, it's Nell with Little Yellow House Crafts and I am live. We're hoping this is going to work this time. I have had not so great luck with YouTube Live, but we're going to try it again. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new to Little Yellow House Crafts, then welcome. I'm Nell. It's great to have you here if you've been around for a while. Hello again. It's time to catch you guys up. Hi, Claudia. It's time to catch you guys up a little bit with what's been going on in my life. I promised I would let you know about how some things went down in my personal life, but also I have completed my Stitch Mania. And so I wanted to give you guys a little rundown of how Stitch Mania went for me. And then I want to do a tour of my WIPS. This idea sparked in my head from Allie at Allie Stitching Studio. Hi Allie. She suggested I go ahead and do this. I mentioned on her video that she just recently posted where she went live, or no, she didn't go live. She showed all of her WIPs. Hey McKenna, are you wearing any sequins today? She went on and she did a tour of all of her WIPs. And so I commented on her video how great an idea I thought that was to kind of remind myself of all the things I'm stitching and how good it would be to kind of remember all the wonderful projects I have going when I feel like I don't have anything to stitch. I know, none of us ever don't have anything to stitch, but sometimes we feel that way. So I wanted to do a little tour of all of my works in progress for you and for me to kind of remind myself of what I've got. So that's the plan for today. Hello everyone. I know someone's gonna ask, I am wearing my Ask Me About My Lipstick shirt, and then it says Bombshell, Napa, and Aussie Rose. If you're a lip sense person, you know what those are. They're just colors that we have. And the ironic thing is I'm actually not wearing lipstick. I am wearing one of our glosses, which is Bougainvillea, I can't pronounce that word, Bougainvillea gloss. It's like a shimmery, sparkly pink gloss. It's really pretty. So anyway, let's talk about life. I know that some of you are wondering, so I'll tell you right now, my callback for Beauty and the Beast went really well. I did not, however, get the part. I'm not all that surprised, and I kind of knew that going into it. I think I told you guys that I felt like this one was kind of a long shot for me. And callbacks went great. Honestly, I felt like I did as well as I could have hoped, and I was really pleased with my performance at auditions and callbacks. I think it came down to me and one other girl. And to kind of give you an idea, we were about as polar opposite of choices for Belle as you could possibly get, okay? There's me, brunette, brown eyes, medium height, medium build. She, tiny, petite, little blonde. Blonde hair, blue eyes, very small, much shorter than me. She was probably 5'1", maybe, very petite. And also our vocal styles were about as polar opposite as you could get too. She was much more of a contemporary sound. All that means is that her voice style has more belt in it. And she's got a more forward, brighter, more contemporary sound. That probably doesn't make sense if you're not a singer, but for those who are singers, you know what I mean. I am more of a classical soprano. I am classically trained, and so my voice is more of a lyric soprano. I'm a high soprano like she was. We were both high sopranos, but our voices sounded really different. And then also the way we acted the part, when we read lines from the script as Belle, she played her a little bit younger, really vibrant and bubbly, and I played Belle a little bit older, not old, but older, a little more soft and subdued, and not subdued, softer and a little more mature. So honestly, it just came down to the director's preference. You could not have picked two more opposite choices for Belle. So he obviously preferred that Belle, which is fine. That's his job as director, is to pick that. But I was really pleased with my performance. I felt really good about it. And the fact that it came down to kind of one or the other, I felt like was pretty good. I do have another audition coming up in about 2.5 weeks for another production of Beauty and the Beast that's happening locally. There's tons of groups doing it this year, I think because of the movie. And that one I feel like I have a better shot at. This group that I just auditioned for a few weeks ago, That was a group that I've never done anything with before. They're a little bit more professional and they had never seen me, so I felt like that one was a long shot. This group, I know a lot of the people, they know who I am, and I know that they like my voice and my style, so I feel like I have a better shot this time around, but still, you never know. So I'm gonna audition for Belle one more time this summer, and if I don't get that one, wasn't meant to be. That's the thing about the performing arts. You can't take anything personally. There's so much rejection. Hey, Abby, how you doing, girl? There's so much rejection, and you just kind of have to take it in stride, and I've been in the performing arts since I was 5, so you know, it's always a bummer, but at the same time, you just take what you can and go forward, I guess. Other than that, life is good. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is coming along great. We are wrapping up all of our music and dance tonight. We have the entire show choreographed. Hallelujah. This show is dance heavy, and this has been a lot of choreography, and so we're wrapping it up tonight. We're reviewing, and then they start blocking all the scenes beginning with Act 1 starting tonight. So getting excited. We have about 3.5 weeks left till we open. We're doing great. Family is good. Husband just finished his 3rd year of medical school. He takes his last exam tomorrow, and then he gets a little bit of a break before 4th year starts. So it's getting real, guys. 1 more year of med school, and he's going to be an MD. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of him. And it's been... Med school is not for the... Start over. Yeah, no. Come back and watch it again later. Abby. Med school is not for the faint of heart. And we had 2 kids during med school. What were we thinking? But anyway, he's done great. I'm so proud of him. So 1 more year and then he's a doctor. And we'll start his residency. He is planning on doing his residency in pathology. In case you're wondering, he wants to be a pathologist. So, there you go. Life update. Let's talk about stitching. Let's talk about Maynia. I have loved watching all of your Maynia updates and getting to see what everybody's been working on. I've particularly enjoyed Nicole at Nicole's Needlework. She did a cool idea where every other day she has a new start, and then on the off days she works on a WIP, which I thought was a really cool idea. Like, one day you have a new start, and then the next day you go back to an older WIP and you work on it for a day. And I think I might steal that for next year, Nicole. I love that idea. Especially because I'm about to do my tour of WIPS, and you know it's a goal of mine to touch everything. Hello! Creating Beauty Lady Stitcher. Ooh, I love your channel name. Hi! Thanks for watching. I think it's nice to be reminded what you've got going and put some stitches in it so you feel like there's nothing that's just been sitting for years or months or whatever. So let's show you what I ended up starting. I did end up having 7 starts, but I changed my plans just to hair. Thank you all for giving your suggestions on what I should start for my fall and my winter piece. When it came down to it, I could not decide. So I ended up nixing my Brooks Books Advent Animal starts. I didn't start either of those, which left 2 spots open for another fall and another winter start because I just couldn't pick. I did get it down to 2 each, but still. I started a lot of things. So first, let me show you in my project bag. And thank you all for being so patient with me on the project bags. Guys, I am gonna keep doing them. I promise. They're still, my sewing machine is still out. Just life has been crazy with all of this theater stuff and lip send stuff, and so that is still the plan. And we're probably moving this summer. So likely those will happen after we move. But the group is hanging around. I'm not closing up shop, just so you know. These are going to be on cue snaps, so forgive me while I pull this off for a second. This was my Country Cottage Needleworks Cottages of the Month that I started. And I started it, and I had 1 small finish. I finished January, and I got started on February. So this is on, I believe this is 28 count. 28 count linen in the color flax. It's a Zweigart linen. And I'm doing them all on 1 giant piece. So here is January and my start on February. I did not get all of that done on the first day that I started it. I've been working on these since I started them with Stitch Mania. But I started January on in my Stitch Mania. So there's that, and there's what I have in February. I did have to do some color swapping with February. There's quite the saga with these colors. There are 3 Weeks Dye Works colors called for in... Why is your floor not covered in peanut butter? Lego Shopkins Goldfish Crumbs. Because, well, they're toddlers, and so their toys are a little bit bigger. We're not into the little bitty toys yet, so no Legos, thank goodness, yet, although it's coming. I know it's coming. And they're both boys, so Shopkins are not really, I don't even think they know what Shopkins are, frankly, and I'm okay with that. They're both toddlers, and I'm a neurotic mom, and I tidy up after my kids. We'll see how long that lasts. It probably won't last for their whole lives. But that's why, Abby, because my husband and I are both really tidy people, and I'm kind of neurotic, so. The floor didn't look like this 20 minutes ago. I picked up because I knew I was going to film a video. That's how much I like you guys. Or how neurotic I am. Anyway, back to this. So February has, because Abby, she is like me. Yeah, McKenna knows. So there are 3 over-dyed threads in February. There's this green, which is, oh gosh, hold that thought. The green is poblano pepper. They're all crescent colors, not Weeks Dye Works, excuse me. The green is poblano pepper, and then there's supposed to be 2 colors of pinks, pink champagne and pink posy. Well, I ordered those colors from 123 Stitch, and they got here and they looked identical. Pink champagne and pink posy were the exact same color, and I was like, is this a mistake? I don't know. So I called 123 Stitch, and I said, I'm looking at my pattern here, and I'm pretty sure pink posy is supposed to be a deeper pink than pink champagne. So would you please, I'll keep the ones I have, and I want to buy another color, but will you please just put on the instructions to whoever's picking this order, I want the darkest pink posy you have. She said, sure, no problem. So she charged me for that. I get the package like 4 days later, because they're super speedy, go 123 Stitch, and it's the exact same color. Apparently the dye lots have changed, and pink champagne and pink posy are identical, at least what 123 Stitch currently has. So then I was like, all right, I gotta find a darker pink. So I went on 123 Stitch, and I looked at Weeks, I looked at Gentle Arts, and I looked at Classic Colorworks, and I tried to find a better pink. And so I decided on Weeks Dye Works Bubblegum. It's a real vibrant, bright pink. This is Weeks Dye Works Bubblegum. So I ordered a skein of Weeks Dye Works Bubblegum. It got here, and it was Gentle Arts Bubblegum. Apparently, Gentle Arts has a bubblegum thread, which is a different shade of pink. It wasn't the right pink, and I'm just neurotic enough that I was like, back on the phone with 123 Stitch, you guys sent me the wrong bubblegum. She said, no problem, keep that one. We'll send you the right one for free. So I finally got my Weeks Dye Works bubblegum. This is actually Pink Posy, which looks like pink champagne, but this is actually the color Pink Posy by Classic Colorworks. And this is Weeks Dye Works bubblegum. So that is the saga of February. I bought like 5 threads to have 2 colors of pink. One of them I got for free because they sent me the wrong thread. But anyway, so that's February, and that's where we stand on that one. It's a giant piece. I'm going to do 3 houses across and 4 down. Woo! It's a fat half, so it's giant. And I love it. I love stitching on it. It's so cute and fun, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And I'm using my little abalone shell turtle needle minder from Nifty Needle Nannies. I've told this story before, but this one reminds me of my grandpa. So he collects turtles. And my grandpa is 95, 96 this year. I can't remember. Still kicking, still going strong. Fought in World War II. Well, actually never actually fought. It's an interesting story. He was he enlisted, I believe, in World War II to be in the Navy, and he joined up right at the end of the war, and he got shipped out to the Pacific front. By the time he actually got to where he was going to be stationed, the war was over. So he helped with some of the mopping up in the Pacific, but he actually never had to see conflict, hand-to-hand conflict, which is a major blessing. But he always feels kind of guilty when people, call him a veteran of World War II. He's like, technically yes, but I never actually had to fire a shot. So was I really? Anyway, funny story. So that was my Country Cottage Needleworks Cottages of the Month. Another start that I had, which is in my Doctor Who project bag. Love it. This is, and there have been so many of you who have been like, thanks a lot, now I have to go buy that. This is the Little Sheep Virtues stitch along that I told you guys about. I showed you how they put it all together with a country cottage pattern, sheep in the meadow. That's what happened to my dad for the Korean War. I know, it's funny, and honestly, we should just be grateful that he never had to see battle, but at the same time, it makes it kind of awkward for him, because whenever they do, like, World War II veteran things, they always ask him if he wants to, like, march in the parade, and he's like, well, kind of no, because I feel guilty being called a veteran. I never had to do anything. So this is where I stand on my Little Sheep Virtues. I got 2 of them done. They're small. They stitch up fast. So I got Hope and Love completely done with the borders up to that point, and you can see my little hanging thread because I'm continuing the border over. So there will be 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 and 1 on either side underneath, and then another row of 5 at the bottom. There's 12, and then the sheep in the meadow pattern goes right in the center. So if you haven't seen this stitch along, go watch my previous video. It's adorable. It is the cutest ever, and I've had so many of you contact me and be like, it's all your fault. I just bought all of them. So this is my Little Sheep Virtues. I'm using my Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey Stuff needle minder from Nifty Needle Nannies for all you Doctor Who fans. I'm stitching this on 32 count linen by Zweigart in the color Dirty. Looks great, and I love it. They're so cute. So again, I didn't get all this done in the first day I started it, but I've been working on it since then. And these do stitch up really quick. This project's not going to be as massive as I originally thought. My next Maynia start in this bag. This was my Lizzie Kate Less More series, which looks like this. If you've ever seen that. Oh, whoever that was, I'm sorry I missed your comment, but I'll answer back to all of your comments after we're done. So this is the Less More series by Lizzie Kate, and I started this one for Maynia as well. And again, I've worked on it since then, so don't look at it and be like, dang girl, you stitch fast. I am a fast stitcher though, I have found. I am a pretty speedy stitcher. I don't know, some people stitch more slowly, some people stitch more quickly. I do stitch kind of quickly. This is Fearless. So I got the first one of the Flip It series done, and I also got the top of the border. So there's Fearless. This is done all in Weeks Dye Works. This green is Endive. This kind of yellow is Straw. This brown is Molasses. The hot pink is like Romance, and then there's another pink in there, Madison Rose, I think. There's a whole bunch of colors. Lots of Weeks Dye Works colors, and it's all wrinkly because it was in my Q-snap. But that's what I have done. These are just trailing threads of the endive as I continue the border down. And I mentioned this last time, if you're doing any of these Lizzie Kate series, you can often find a border pattern on their website to put all of them together. That's what this is. This is not included with the charts. I had to go to their website to find this border, and they offer them for free. You can print them out or just use them on your iPad or whatever. But that's what that is. So that's Fearless, got that done. Enjoying that one. I always enjoy Lizzie Kate's. They're so cute and colorful, and this series in particular just really speaks to my heart. It's so many nice little thoughts. So that was my third Maynia start. The next 4 are not in project bags because I haven't been actively working on them in like the last 2 weeks. Last week. The 2 fall starts I decided on. I couldn't decide, and you guys were no help at all. About half of you wanted one, half of you wanted the other, so I started both. I started Prairie Schooler Knock Knock. Yay! So this is the next one in my Prairie Schooler series of 4 Halloween charts that all kind of look like this. And I'm stitching these on 25 count Lugana, I think in cream or ivory. And the plan is to, when they're all done, sew them into a wall hanging that's like a window pane. So 4 of them with some sashing in between. So the one on the right here, or your left, is Who's There that I did last year for Stitch Maynia. This is my start on Knock Knock for this year. And I think I did that in about 2 days. Maybe 1 day. Maybe there was 1 day of a lot of stitching. If I stitched a whole evening for about 4 hours, I probably got that done. So there's 1 and 2 of those Prairie Schooler charts. That is my start for Knock Knock. And I love it. I really enjoy these. I'm stitching these because it's a 25 count. I'm stitching this 3 over 2. So I wanted them a little bigger because I wanted to be able to do a wall hanging, and they're charted to be pretty small, and I wanted them a little bigger. So I'm doing them 3 over 2 on 25 count, ivory or cream, I can't remember. And that is Knock Knock. So I started that one. The other one I started for kind of my fall thing was my new Sandra Cozzolino chart, Magic Potion. So cute. I love it so much. It's so cheerful and colorful and adorable. And had a pretty good start on that. I think I got most of the top done. No, about half of the top done. I got some stormy looking clouds, a moon, and 2 little bats who are missing their eyeballs. They're supposed to have little French knot eyeballs that are like orange, so they have like glowing orange eyes. So that's what I got done of this guy. I still have some more clouds and lots more bats to do. But I'm stitching this on 32 count, something fell. I don't know what that was. 32 count linen in dirty, the color dirty. It says Vigart linen. From my stash, this is a fat 1/8 and it'll fit it perfectly. It'll go to about here and then go down. So it fits it really nice. And that's my start on Magic Potion. Those little bats are so cute. So cute. I love it. So that was my start on that one. And someone was talking, I think it was Tracy P. Who was talking about this? That sometimes you'll have like memories associated with what you were doing while you were stitching a certain piece. Like if you're watching a certain movie or show, that every time you pull that back out, you like remember that that's what you were watching while you're stitching this. I was watching, while stitching this, we were watching Jurassic World. So when I pull this out, I think of like velociraptors and giant terrifying dinosaurs and Chris Pratt, which is okay with me to think about him. Anyway, so those were my 2 fall starts, and then I also had 2 winter starts because again, I couldn't decide, and you guys were kind of split evenly on this one too, so I did both. The first one was Goodwill Towards Men, another Sandra Cozzolino chart that I got recently. So cute, those little Christmas carolers. And I think I just got all of these clouds done, if I recall. The top row of clouds. Yep, top row of clouds. I got that done in one evening. That took me maybe 2.5 hours. It stitched up pretty fast. So underneath that will go some lace and a dove and some little snowflake things on the side. So there's my clouds. This I'm stitching on 32 count Belfast linen as well. And this is the color Summer Khaki. Thank you, Sandra. That's what I got done. Did that in one evening as well. And then my last Maynia start was my other winter project. And there were some of you who were really enthusiastic about this one, so had to start it. This is a piece by Ship's Manor called The Holly and the Ivy. It's 2 nutcrackers, and they're beautiful. I said this last time, but this picture does not do it justice, how beautiful these are. They're stitched with a couple of different, a mixture of DMC and some over-dyed threads by Gentle Arts and Classic Colorworks and stuff. And this is what I got done. So I'm starting with, I think he's the Holly, yes. Starting with the Holly. Yes, Holly and the Ivy. Hi, Trisha. Yes, you were one of the ones who was like, start that right now. So I started with this guy. This is the Holly Nutcracker, and I started with his giant crown up here. And I got this done in one evening as well. This one stitches up nice and quickly. But again, like I said, I'm a pretty fast stitcher. So here he is. This is his giant crown, and there's a hanging thread because I'm not done filling in some of these white spaces in this brown part. There's little white spaces in this top green area. Those will be beads. There are some red Mill Hill beads that go in there because they're holly berries, because he's the Holly Nutcracker. And so that is where I got to on him. and he is stitched on 32 count again, 32 count linen. Guys, 32 count Belfast linen is like my go-to. It's my favorite. I love stitching on Belfast linen. If I could stitch everything on Belfast linen, I would. In the color white, it's just white. I really wanted the greens and the reds to pop, and it's a Christmassy one, and so like red, green, and white feels Christmassy. So I'm stitching them on white. You guys know I don't do hand-dyed fabrics. Can't do it. I have a mental block about that. So there is the start of my holly nutcracker, and then we'll have the ivy nutcracker next to him, and they'll be beautiful. So those were my Stitch Mania starts. 7 starts. Didn't happen in 7 days because you guys know I can't stitch every night right now with nutcracker rehearsals. Not nutcracker rehearsals. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels rehearsals. And so for Stitch Mania, I just wanted to do 7 starts in May, and I got them done. We're now a little past halfway through May, and I got them all started. So that was my Mania. Yay! It felt very fun. It didn't feel all that manic to me. It just was fun. It was really fun to get to start all of them. And because I only did 7, I was able to like work on them for more than one day, because I know that's hard with Mania for a lot of people to like start something and then put it away. You don't want to put it away. You want to keep working on it because you really like it. And with only having 7, I was able to put in some more work on quite a few of them. So that was my Mania. Happy Stitch Mania. For those of you who are still going strong, keep it up. You're amazing. But I'm done. So now we're going to go into my WIP bin. Those are all my WIPs that I haven't shown you. So those 7 new starts are also WIPs now, but we're going to do a little WIP tour of everything I have in this bin that is started and considered an active WIP. There was one WIP that was in here that I decided to boot. One thing that I started last year for Stitch Mania, it was the Rose Garden. It's a beautiful piece. Every time I looked at it, the thought I had in my head was, oh gosh, I don't want to stitch that. That's going to be a pain to stitch. It's beautiful and I love it, but I didn't want to stitch it. And I only had maybe 300 or 400 stitches put in. I mean, not a lot. It took me, an hour to pick them all out, but I did. I picked out all the stitches, put the fabric back in my stash, and just called it quits on that one, and I feel good about that. It wasn't bringing me joy to look at it and think about stitching it again, and I would rather use that fabric for something that I love. So the Rose Garden, I'm going to keep the chart, and there may come a point in my life where I decide that's what I want to stitch, and so I will do that, but right now is not the time. So that was one chart that I booted, but the rest of these, all of my other started projects are all in here. So the first one you have seen a few times recently, so I'll do this one quickly. Lost No More Dimensions Gold Collection Kit. And you guys saw this in my last video because I put some stitches in. I did not work on this at all since the last video because Stitch Mania happened, but that's where it is. Isn't it beautiful? Every time I pull it out, I'm just like, oh, this is so gorgeous. It is full coverage. All of this up here is stitched with half stitches and a lot of blended threads to give it kind of a misty look, but it's just gorgeous. I love these Dimensions Gold Collection kits. I'm not so much a kit stitcher anymore, and I'm definitely not so much a full coverage stitcher, but there are a few exceptions. My stockings that I do are always Dimensions Gold Collection stockings, and they're usually full coverage, and I love doing those because my whole family has a stocking. And this one, I feel the same way. I love it, and I'm not ready to give up on that one. It's also my oldest WIP. This guy, oop, that's the chart. My oldest WIP, had it for about 7 or 8 years now, so keep plugging away on that. Next are my Brooks Books Advent Animals. They're all in here, along with all my extra fabric. Won't spend a lot of time, but I can show you guys some of the ones I've done. Ooh, here's Hamilton Horse, which is the last one I did. Katie Kitty is number 1. I think these are in order. Peter Polar Bear, can you see these? Yeah. Mary Mouse, Duncan Dog. I'm impressed that I'm remembering the names. Hattie Hedgehog, Cashmere Camel, Pierre Penguin, Pearly Pig, Kenny Kangaroo, Sheila Sheep, Fitzwilliam Frog, Sophie Squirrel, Colin Cardinal, Cassie Cow, Rascal Raccoon, I think. Gigi Giraffe, who's my favorite. Love her. And then Hamilton Horse is number 17. So those are all of my Brooks Books Advent animals. That is still a work in progress. I'm considering each of those a tiny finish, but the whole set of them, I'm considering one giant whip. So even though I don't have any currently started, I'm still considering this a work in progress because they're not all done. I have 17 of the 25 done. So I'm gonna keep working on that. Here are my, hi Darla, how are you? Oh, it's good to see your comment. I was gonna say it's good to see you. I can't see you, but hi, thanks for watching. Here are my Brooks Books Little Women. And you saw this recently, but I'll pull it out and show it again in case there's some newbies. I have 2 of the 4 done. I'm doing these all on one piece. This is 36 count linen, tin roof. Linen by Weeks Dye Works. I think it's a Witchell linen that Weeks Dye Works dyed. So I have, that is Beth in the purple dress and Amy in the pink dress. And I have space on the other side for Joe and Meg. So I haven't started Joe yet. She'll be the next one I start, but Beth and Amy are totally done. So that is that one, and you guys just have to wait for me to put them away, because if I don't put these away in their bags, oh my gosh, can you imagine the catastrophe? So that's 7 from Stitch Mania, 8, 9, 10. That's my 10th whip. Can't believe I have like almost 20 whips. That's unheard of for me. You guys are such a bad influence. Whatever, I love it. This one is also an older whip, and I have gone back and forth on this one a few times as to whether or not I want to adopt this one out or if I do want to finish it. And then Sweet Lady on Stitch Mania, I'm sorry, your name is escaping me, posted this, that she finished on behalf of another stitcher who died in kind of tragic circumstances, and she finished a bunch of her cross stitches for the family. There were like 4 or 5 of them, and it was such a tender, sweet story. And this was one of the ones she finished for that dear departed Stitchy sister, and that is the Janlin Winter Sampler. You guys know I have the summer one of these done already in my finished projects pile that will eventually be fully finished into something. I also have the kits for the autumn and spring samplers, and I would like to do them all someday, but this one has not been worked on in a long time. This is the winter sampler. All of the top half full cross stitching is done. It needs back stitching. And I think that's my hang up, honestly, why I'm not working on this one, because I want to go and do all of the back stitching for the top half before I keep going on the bottom half. And that amount of back stitch makes me, I don't want to do it. So I think that's why I haven't touched this in like 3 years, maybe longer. It's been a while. But again, not ready to give up on it yet. Maybe I will be someday. Maybe in another year or 2 I will be emotionally ready to let that one go and let someone else finish it, but not yet. So that's my Janlin Winter Sampler, which is number 11 on my whip count. Number 12. Ooh, I can't wait to pull this one back out. I'm gonna pull this one back out later this year when it gets closer to Christmas time. This is my Heirloom Nativity Sampler by the Victoria Sampler. Darla, I love backstitching. Darla, come to my house and do all my backstitching because I do not love it. You're cute. This is my Heirloom Nativity Sampler by the Victoria Sampler. It's gorgeous. The threads are gorgeous. I bought all of the accessory packs. There were 2 accessory packs. There's the regular one with all the colored floss and metallic floss, and then there's a white accessory pack that just has all the white silk you need for all of the in-between bands. Give yourself a break. Stitch a little of the bottom section, then a little back stitch, and alternate it. Good idea, Donna. I can like give myself rewards for like back stitching one section. I'll give myself a reward of some kind. That's a great idea. Anyway, this is Heirloom Nativity Sampler. This is what I have done so far. So it's missing a, exactly, it's missing a star. There's like a little star charm that goes up there, and there's beads and things that go on it, but they won't go on till the end. And I know you're all looking at this and going, oh my gosh, she's stitching on a hand-dyed fabric. I am. This one's not so bad. The modeling is pretty subtle on this guy. It looks more stark. Oh, it says very bad connection. Well, we're gonna continue on. It looks more stark on the camera than it looks in real life. The modeling is very subtle, and so it doesn't bother me as much. I really wanted like a stormy gray linen for this one, or a Lugana. This is a Lugana, excuse me, not a linen. And this is, I think 32 count Lugana in the color Storm, Stormy Gray or Storm or something like that. And I like it. I don't often like hand-dyed fabrics, but I am using one for this guy. So, and I think the fact that it's a Lugana and not a linen means that the hand-dyed modeling part is not as deep and intense, which I know some people really love. I don't want deep and intense modeling. So that is Victoria's sampler. The Heirloom Nativity sampler. Love that one. Can't wait to get back to it. That was number 12. Number 13. WIP number 13 is my one and only, I gotta get the chart hidden. I have it so the chart's in the front. My one and only Carriage House Samplings Hawk Run Hollow piece. It's Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. And I am stitching this on the recommended fabric with all the recommended silks. This is stitched on, oh, there it is. 40 count Sand Dune from Lakeside Linens, which is what I'm stitching it on, using all needlepoint ink silk. There's one silken colors, and the rest of these are all needlepoint ink, and there's like 60 colors. I bought them all on Stash Unload, so I did not pay full price for those silks, but it is still a hefty project. And I, like, every time I pull this out and I look at the stitching, 40 count is freaking tiny. Some of you who stitch everything on 40 count, like Nicole at Nicole's Needlework, and a couple of you who like kind of the reproduction samplers and the more prim stuff, those of you who stitch everything on 40 count, you're amazing, because this is tiny. But here's what I have. Just a chunk of the top border piece. So this pumpkin, I'm like halfway up on this pumpkin, and it looks funny right now because there's going to be stitching of like other colors in those lines to make it look like grooves. But there is my start on Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. 40 count, Sand Dune, needlepoint ink silks with one silken colors, and I love it. I can't wait to get that one back out too. When it gets a little later in the summer and it's more autumn time, I will be pulling that baby back out. And I gotta say, I can see what the big deal is about stitching with silks and even stitching on 40 count, 1/2. I can understand why there are people who love it and that's like all they want to do, because it is nice when you stitch with only one thread. I think Abby may have mentioned this, or one of you who stitches on 40 count a lot. When you stitch with only one thread, you don't have to worry about your threads twisting and like the stitches not looking neat and even. When you stitch with one thread, it looks always perfect. There's nothing to twist. So I get it. I get the draw and the appeal. And I do really like this project. This project is going to take me 500 years to finish because it's on 40 count and it's tiny and it's a big piece, but I love it. So that was my Hawk Run Hollow, which is WIP number 13. WIP number 14 was a Stitch Mania start last year, and I have put in a little more work on it since Stitch Mania of last year. No more than a few days here and there, but I still love it, and I want to finish it. This is The Country Store by Told in a Garden. Marilyn Levitt Emblem, same lady who does Lavender and Lace. And this I am stitching on 28 count Brittany, which is just Lugana, in the color New Khaki. And this is what I have done. So there's some shelves with some dry goods, some, I think these are bolts of fabric, some books, some other little bits and pieces. This is the shopkeeper's head. Looks a little scary and dismembered right now. But that is the Country Store. Oh, and I've had a few people ask me why I have this fabric sewn onto some of my pieces. I did this last year for all of my Stitch Mania starts. This is not something I can claim as my idea. I got this idea from Trisha, the left-handed stitcher. She does this, and it's just to help make it easier to put your fabric into your Q-snaps. When you're using a piece of fabric where you don't have maybe like, itchy nose. where you don't maybe have, 4 inches of border. If you only have maybe 2 inches of border, which is enough for like framing, but it's hard to get it to stay in your Q-snap, you just sew some extra fabric on. And then it fits into your Q-snap easier and you don't have to struggle so much with it. So that's why I did that, and it's great. I highly recommend it. It's come in really handy, particularly with my blue bride, Mika, who we're gonna see in a little bit. But yeah, so that was the country store, number 14. Number 15, I'm feeling guilty about, and I think that means it's time to get it out and keep working on it. Number 15 is my Harry Potter giant sampler. Oh, look at that. Ooh, that's how far I've gotten. I know I'm over halfway done, guys. Ish. About halfway done, maybe slightly over. So I have said this before, but I've made some color changes with these decorative border pieces in the corners and then the rest of the border. This stuff was charted to be blue, this color blue, which is the same as the Ravenclaw blue, which goes down in the bottom corner, and that bugged me that like the whole thing was Ravenclaw blue. Like, what are we, like totally biased towards Ravenclaw? Whatever. I'm not a Ravenclaw. I'm a Hufflepuff and proud of it. You know who else is Hufflepuff? Newt Scamander from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Hufflepuff pride. Anyway, it bugged me though that they were all done in Ravenclaw blue, and I felt like the borders that were supposed to represent the different houses were the wrong colors, so I just changed them. So this is Gryffindor, red with gold. This is Slytherin, obviously green with silver metallic. You can see Hufflepuff's rule, yeah! I will do the Ravenclaw with that blue and then a bronze kind of coppery color, and then Hufflepuff, woo woo, will be yellow with kind of a gunmetal black metallic. So that is my Harry Potter giant sampler. Still love it. Haven't worked on it though in probably a year, and so I'm feeling guilty. I need to pull it out. A couple of you have finished yours in the last year, and every time someone posts on Stitch Mania when they finish it, I'm always like, I need to work on mine. Just have too many projects going. So that is WIP number 16. No, 15. Sorry, 15. Number 16 is one you guys haven't seen in a long time because I haven't worked on it in over a year now. It's my Save the Stitches, which I actually got a decent amount done before I put it away. I got the first 4 blocks done. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, and then this is 4. So that's Save the Stitches. I'm doing this in the original colors as charted, which is just black with some metallic. And there's 3 colors of metallic: gold, silver, and copper. So, and I'm using Krennic for my metallic, not DMC Light Effects because can't stand it. So I'm using Krennic, and that's that. I'm stitching this on I think this is a 28 count Lugana. Yep, this is a 28 count Lugana, so as charted, using pearl cotton for the borders of each section, and then 1 strand of DMC for all of the fill patterns. I really enjoy black work. This was kind of my first foray into black work, and hello Special Crafts and More, hi, welcome, thanks for joining me. I enjoy it. I haven't worked on this in a long time, but I'm keeping it, and I will pull it back out eventually because I love this piece, and it's so beautiful when it's done, and I don't feel any rush to complete projects. I mean, there are certain things that I want to get done sooner rather than later, and other things that I'm like, I'm just stitching this purely for the joy of it so we can make it last as long as we want to, and this is one of those. So that was Save the Stitches, which was number 15. I've lost count now, guys. I think this is WIP number 15. 16 is something you've also seen recently, which is my Seed to Shining Sea Little House Needleworks, stitched in all classic colorworks silk, which is Belle Soie silk. I have come to learn recently. I just called it Classic Colorworks silk because that's what they called it in these charts. They don't call it Belle Soie, but that is the Classic Colorworks silk. So here's where we are. Lots of hanging threads on this one. I apologize for that border. I finished the bottom border from Sea to Shining Sea, and I've almost finished the top border, and I have completed the first little house, the West Coast. Little California beach house. So that's that guy. I'm stitching this on 32 count raw linen. Yeah, 32 count natural raw linen from Zweigart. That's what I'm using. Oh, and my needle minder is from Minding My Minders, who she no longer does needle minders. But it's the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, in a sparkly bottle cap. You guys know I can't decide if I like Matt Smith better or if I like David Tennant. I love them both. They're very different doctors, and they each have very different endearing qualities. So I like them both. So that is WIP number 16. I think I may be losing count. And then the last one in this box, I still have 2 more after this. The last one in this box, number 17, is 'Twas the Night by Sue Hillis. This was a Maynia start last year. And I love this piece. I'm stitching this on a 32 count linen in the color Raw Gold. So it has gold threads shot through it, and it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful. You can see that sparkle. Look at how pretty that is. And this is what I have done. I haven't put any more work into this since last time I showed it to you in a video, but I have almost the first half done. So when I unfold the whole thing, you can see the bottom half is almost completely done. I have a little more border to do on that bottom half, and then we'll move to the top half. So that will also come out as part of my Christmas stitching. That's 'Twas the Night. And that one, honestly, if I put a good solid month of work into that one, I could probably get it done. That one stitches really quickly because those words go fast. The border is what takes the longest, but the border's not that big. There are a lot of color changes, so it's kind of time consuming, but it's not huge. And so it doesn't take forever in a day to stitch, even though it is kind of labor intensive. So I feel like if I really buckled down on this one, I could get that one done in like a month. Last 2, 18 and 19s. Look at that. Last one. I have 18 WIPs currently after Stitch Mania. Before Stitch Mania, I had 11. Now I have 18 because I started a whole bunch of new things. And that is, no surprise at all, my Blue Bride, who I'm not going to take off the Q snaps right now because you guys have seen this a million times. Look at how pretty those blues are in the sunlight. I love her. So this is Mika, my Blue Bride, named after Darling Bluebell here on Floss Tube. She is from the Netherlands. She's Dutch, and she loves the color blue. Everything is blue. She loves all the blues. And so since I did this in blues, I thought, how fitting, let's call her Mika. So she's still headless. That's like the top of the neck of her dress, and so she has a head that goes here. Hi, Yolanda, welcome. But she's my last WIP. She's number 18. I have 18 current active WIPs. I call them all active. Some of them are more active than others. None of them have been UFO'd, is really what it comes down to. That Rose Garden was made a UFO, was picked out, and the fabric put back into my stash for use with other things. So I don't have any more inactive, like UFO type WIPs. All of my WIPs are things that I still love, would love to put more stitches in, and now I have 18 of them after Stitch Mania. So that's crazy for me. 18 projects. I need to do some more finishing. I got a lot of finishing done last month, you guys remember, so I need to do that again. I need to get like 4 more finishes to bring that number back down, but that's the fun of Stitch Mania, right? It's fun. Okay, that's everything I have to show you. I mean, I have some boxes in this bin that contain like threads for certain projects. If I'm not working out of my, so the way I have my threads, let's just do this quick. I have my master set of DMC, and I work out of this for everything that uses DMC. I no longer kit up individually. I have too many projects. I've never had a problem with dye lot issues because If there's something that has enough stitching of one color that I might run into dye lot issues, I go and get a few new DMC just to use for that. And that's fine, because that is the exception, not the rule. There are very few times where I feel like I would need more than one full skein of DMC. So I just work out of this for everything that uses DMC. I have a separate floss box for my small but growing collection of over dyes. So these are all my Weeks Dye Works. This is my Gentle Arts, and these are my Classic Color Works, or Crescent Colors. So that I have when I have, and I don't really just buy those colors. I only buy them when I have a project that calls for them, so that's why my collection is small. And it will grow with time as I do more of them. I have this box, which I have neatly labeled, Winter Sampler, STS is Save the Stitches, and then Mill Hills. This box I use for those things. So up here are my threads that came in the kit for my Winter Sampler. You can see down here I've got my pearl cotton, there's some DMC 310, and I've got a whole bunch of my Krennic metallics for Save the Stitches. Mill Hill, when I do a Mill Hill kit, those are usually stored down here, but there's none in there right now because I finished my Mill Hill last video. And then you can see there's some floss cards in here. These are my flosses that came in the kit for Lost No More, the Christ with the sheep one. Those are the floss cards that I have my floss on. That's the only thing I don't have bobbinated because it's my oldest WIP and I wasn't bobbinating then. So that's my box for that. This is my box. This is all of my NPI silks. This is just for Autumn and Hockran Hollow. Those are all my NPIs and one Silken Colors right there. There's an extra NPI. There's one color that needed two, and so there's the extra one. And that's my Silken Colors. This is all of my Hockran Hollow stuff. And this are the rest of my silks. Okay, so over here are my silks for my I think these are for my Sea to Shining Sea. All of these silks came with the 5 chart packs for that Sea to Shining Sea. Yeah, so these are all Classic Colorworks Belle Soie over here. These are my little samples of HDF silks by Vicki Clayton. I told that story, so those are all samples of her silks, which she no longer dyes. These are my Dinky Dye silks. I bought an Oops pack on Etsy just to try them, and I have plans to use them in a couple different patterns, but that's where I store them. Those are all Dinky Dye silks. And then over here, these are my silks for the Victoria's Sampler Heirloom Nativity Sampler that came in the accessory pack. So there's all the white, and then the rest of the colors, and then there's like beads and charms and goodies up there. So those are how I have my flosses organized. And then I have a binder in here that has my giant Harry Potter sampler. It's got my Brooks books. It has my Save the Stitches, all of like the charts that I've printed off from like PDFs. Yes, I bobbinate all my flosses. I bobbinate my silks. I know that probably made some of you cringe, but I've never had a problem. Once you stitch, there's no kinks. And I'm a pretty careful stitcher so that my stuff doesn't get twisted. I like untwist my needle every stitch I make. Does that make sense? My fingers just have memorized the way to kind of roll the needle so it untwists. And I have never had a problem with my silks tangling or looking kinked or anything like that. So I bobbinate everything except metallics. I usually don't bobbinate metallics, but I bobbinate everything. So that's it. That's my tour of WIPS. I have 18 projects that have been started. 7 of them were more recent, so that's unusual for me to have that many. I usually have around 10 projects on the go. But yeah, thanks for joining me. This is a long video. Thanks for hanging out with me live. It's super fun. I love doing this. I love being able to like chat with you guys as I'm filming, so you can like post comments and I can respond. I think it's really fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. My Mother's Day was wonderful, and I hope yours was too. And I will catch you guys really soon, okay? Take care. See you later.